because it's flipping windy. I'm at a delightful little place called Ruby Bay. And I'm not quite sure I've got sunglasses on because it's starting to rain. And I've had a steady run up from wherever I was this morning, and I can't remember where I was this morning. Oh God, Eyemouth, that's it. Come over the new Forth Bridge. I've stopped at a couple of places, but being on my own, I work on the basis that if something doesn't feel right, then very often it isn't. And I found a couple of what I hoped would be lovely spots to do some long exposures, but I just didn't feel comfortable, so I decided to head on up here. This isn't my aim for this weekend. I've got one location that I'm going to get to for sunrise tomorrow, and other than that, I'm pretty much just going wherever I fancy. Yeah, high tide was about 6:20. Sunset is about 8:20. So I'm hoping to find some nice rock formations that I can get some long exposures with the waves coming in around them, even though it's going to be a receding tide. And hopefully we'll get some colour in the sky. As you've just... you might be able to make out behind me, just there, it's really, really bright, and then we've got thick, dark, goopy cloud above us, which is making long exposures quite difficult, but I'm doing my best. I was tempted to go for shorter exposures given how blooming windy it is, but I persevered and we went for some long exposures with the 6-stop and a reverse grad, and we ended up at 30 seconds and 25 seconds and 20, just to see what I could get. I'll spin you around in a second and show you where I was shooting. Oh dear. I'm just not quite sure that the audio is going to be any good if I'm facing that way. And we're now about to get really wet, so I might have to leg it into the car because I've got my down jacket on. And there's people out in the water, and there's been people out on boats. It's been wonderful. Now, because of the rain, I have put the camera away, but I can show you what I was doing. This was my first kind of composition, and I was shooting in portrait orientation. I've got these rocks coming in from either side, and then just the rush of the water leading you back, and in the background you can see two oofing great oil rigs. I had no concept that oil rigs were that close to shore, and if we've got a clear day they'd make a really good subject, but it isn't clear. Now the thing that's causing me a nightmare is this. You can see this huge band of bright sky, and then we have a huge band of dark, brooding clouds. That was a bit of a nightmare to expose for. Yes, I could have bracketed. No, I didn't bother because I wasn't interested. I think, although it's overexposed slightly, I think it's rescuable in post. But I was shooting long exposures, so this is all kind of ethereal. And it might end up as a square crop, or maybe a 10x8. Once I've done that, I then moved over to here, and we have got this group of rocks leading out whee to the lighthouse in the distance, and that was shot in, I think I was shooting in portrait orientation still. It might have been a landscape orientation. Again, long exposures to get the swirling water here, all ethereal. But what it was doing, and what caught my eye in the first place, is it's picking up this beautiful, vibrant yellow. I don't know, I'm presuming it's algae. It's glorious. It pops, absolutely pops. Now the tide is now turned and starting to go out, so more of these rocks are coming into view, and I've spotted one. I don't know if you'll be able to see it. Yeah, just there. Whee! That I'm going to go have a look at. It was a bit tricky to get to it when the tide was fully in, but I'm going to go and have a look at that one. And then at some point, I'm going to go have a wander out there and see what's there for sunset. Because we're getting rain and then dry and then rain and then dry, we could maybe get some half decent sunset colour. Fingers crossed. I've probably put the kiss of death on it now. Alright, goody. From round there, and I say it is windy, so excuse the noise if the wind is being picked up by the mic. I spotted a solitary rock, this one here, and it's got that beautiful green lichen on the top. We're on a receding tide, so it's a little bit of a guessing game with the waves. You're still getting the 7th or 10th waves that comes in and smothers it, but I've isolated it. I haven't got any of the background in. I'm essentially shooting down on it, and I'm using the 17 to 55 lens, shooting at f5.6, just the 10 stop. I'm at 30 seconds. I set the white balance to 10,000 kelvins because I want to leave this one colour, because that algae really pops. Now I'm going to do a little experiment. Yeah, I'll show you what I've got with this one. Just a second. So that's the image. It looks a bit green on this screen, but I can assure you it isn't. That's exactly what I was after. Ethereal waves and that yellow popping. Beautiful. Now I'm going to try an experiment and set the white balance to auto and see what that does. Now I've had people ask me why I set my white balance to 10,000 kelvins, and this is why. I want to leave this image, oh, where are we? Colour. And the Lee 10 stop gives a lovely blue cast. Oh, if I go back to my previous one, where I set the kelvins to 10,000, that colour cast isn't there. That's why I do it. Well, I think we might be in for some colour, simply because, excuse the wind, there is some beautiful cloud over there that's light and looks like it might catch, and in the opposite direction where the sun's going down, it's not particularly thick and heavy. Can I find composition? I couldn't find composition if my life depended on it around here. Part of the problem for me is the tide's going out, which I knew it was going to be. You can only have, I think, sunrise or sunset coinciding with the right tide. This weekend it is high tide at sunrise, and I prefer shooting sunrise anyway because it's quieter. There's a couple of compositions I could make, but there's oofing great tents in the way. So that's out the window. And having shot over there, I really don't want to shoot that again with colour in the sky. I like the images that I got from over there. Yeah, I do think this sky is going to kick off. So I'm going to keep looking around. I'm wanting to find the composition, woohee, excuse me spinning you around, with, I think she's called Elie Ness Lighthouse, or Elie Ness Lighthouse in it. But it's just not happening. Hey ho, can't be greedy, had a good sunrise, got some images I like. If we get a sunset, and if I manage to find a composition, I'll bomb back and show you. If we don't, thank you for coming along today. Part 2 will be next weekend. I've got 2 more full days up here. As I say, only one location that is written in stone, and that is tomorrow morning for sunrise. And I don't think there's going to be a sunrise. Well, I mean, obviously there's going to be a sunrise. I just don't think there's going to be a colour. But that doesn't matter. I have actually taken one image here, which is a mono. I think it works. Composition's a bit iffy, but it was the best I could come up with. Yes. So if I don't see you a little bit later on, I shall see you next weekend at a new location in Bonnie, Scotland.